Welcome back to the Money Hill presented by the Best of 3 Network. This week we'll be discussing the outcomes of the recent roster changes, some surprising results, some teams in trouble, and the rest of Major 2 Week 1 qualifiers. Of course, I'm your host, Scoot, and I'm back with Big Money Bliv's BMB, who does not seem to have watered his plant regardless of the Reddit comments this week. But I'm wondering how you're doing today, and how's the plant as well?
There's two plants. They're both looking worse and worse. You know, to be honest, I used to think I had a green thumb. I think they get. I'm not a snake plant expert, to be completely transparent. I think they're getting too much light, and maybe even too much water. Not too little water, but maybe too much water. I think I might have overwatered them.
Okay, all right. Maybe you did too much, but you're good. You're good otherwise, besides the plants.
I am so pumped. What a fun week. What a fun first week. Kind of like, to me, this is when the season really starts. I call December the preseason affectionately. Everyone needs it. But man, what a fun week, and I'm ready to jump into it.
Well, let's jump into it then. Starting off with our roster changes, the results of those. I think the big one that people are concerned about, but in case you missed it last week, let me take you through it. Optic dropping Dashy, picking up Huke. LAG dropping 3 players from their roster and then replacing them with Academy players. So Exceed, Joe Deceives, and Assault joining the roster with Arcides. And finally, London dropping Paul X and bringing in Scraps to the team. I think the big one, the one that everybody wants to talk about, the drama of the CDL this week is, Dashy coming out with his side of the story, all that stuff. Unfortunately, we're not a drama podcast, so we're not really going to get into the details there. However,
we absolutely should get into the drama there.
Okay, I mean, you've got a limited amount of time here, and there's a lot to unpack.
Give the people the high level.
The high level is that Dashy's side of the story is that he cared a lot more than he was given credit for. He was also held to a higher standard in terms of showing up for practice based on a prior reputation and things like that. And then also the other piece of this is that Rambo Ray missed like a scrim for bowling or something. He says that he did it one time and he watched the VOD afterwards with the team and everything. So it didn't seem like a huge deal, but it is hilarious and it will go down in history as one of the funnier moments in the CDL that this is like the memes are unbelievable surrounding this. It's crazy. But listen, they come away with a win.
The funny part about that is Dashy complaining about high expectations. He's literally complaining that people are expecting high things of him, and then when he doesn't perform, it's just like, yeah, you're one of the best players in the world. We see how much talent you have. Be the fucking best player in the world. We're going to expect that from you. I don't think anyone should be apologizing for that.
Yeah, I mean, he did have the numbers to back up that, I would say, over the last 2 seasons and probably the start of this one as well. But I think something did need to change, and it should go to show you enough the result this week. They did get a 3-2 win over Boston. Yep. It was honestly a really good win for Optic.
It was almost a 3-1. It was real close to a 3-1.
I agree with you there. But the thing that I think sticks out to me the most about this is how the series ended, actually. Because they go down 2-0 in Search and Destroy, and then they go up 5-2, win 5 straight rounds. They lose the 8th round, so it's 5-3. They lose that 5-3 round with the old roster. I think part of me is a lot more concerned about them losing the entire match. I think there was a lot of resilience shown by Optic Texas here, and also a little bit of self-awareness. Like I mean,
Huke, we have to talk about it, right? Like, Huke was fantastic for them, and
he had a fantastic series, 1.08 KD.
I think Optic is just starting to scratch the surface. I think as the team gels more and you see him kind of play more of a team player role, I think that the team's gonna be even better. I am super bullish on Optic after this weekend. And I know it's just one game. It
was a great week for them. Both subs are floating around to 1 KD.
Yep.
And you have iLLeY and Scump putting up absolute numbers in that series. And I think that's really what you want to see because the thing about Shotzzy and Huke working together is that they're going to set a pace that is extremely quick, but they're also going to trade each other and they're going to open up lanes for ARs to lock things down, which is exactly what happened. You want that to happen every week. But again, the resilience in the Search and Destroy to come back down 2-0 and win it with 5 straight rounds, you drop one in there, and then 6-3 close it out. Done.
And it felt like, because obviously Optic lost the first Search and Destroy by quite a big margin. It felt like the way it started with 2-0, they were going to get blown out again in Search and Destroy, right? And that's a game that is a lot of chemistry, right? You really have to understand.
That's the other thing, yeah.
And so it's an easy map it's an easy game type for you to lose when you're new and you're still trying to feel each other out. For them to kind of have the resilience to kind of lock in and still pull that one out after getting smoked in the first S&D, fantastic. Again, you'll see my picks, but bullish.
It's chemistry and it's also, stratting and everything like that. So they're going to get better at search and destroy over
Totally.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They go down 2-0, and then they just slowed the pace down so much because the rounds that they had lost, they were getting slapped around in just 4-on-4. And so what they did is they just sat in the back of the map, and they slowed the pace down.
They were like going down dumb routes on that map, and it was just like they were kind of they were making mental errors. Honestly, I think it was just mental errors.
It was a solid series from OpTic. Can't say enough about it. Happy they made the switch. It looks a lot better. I think Scump's interview tells a lot after that series about what's going on. But they do need to work on their respawns a little bit and get a little bit cleaner there. And then I think we'll be looking at a dominant team. I know you're not big on that take ever, but
I feel like you're not even hearing me. I'm saying I'm bullish on it.
I know you're bullish. It's a rarity. So we'll see if that sticks next week. But they have some big matches coming up as well.
Can we talk on the inverse side of this? I know you have a whole thing, but I'm so excited to talk about LAC and the fact that Dashy's going to go there.
Not yet. We'll get there. The other two teams making roster changes had slightly more not more interesting weeks, but they had LAG had more matches, London had more matches, so there's a lot more to learn there. LAG go 1-1. Huge win over LA Thieves to seal the weekend. 3-1. They kind of slapped them around and respawned. Only lost the control. And they also threw the Florida series, I would say. So
I mean, even against Outtro, Outtro almost fucked it up. They get smoked on S&D, and that's like a concerning issue for Outtro.
Florida's really good at S&D, though.
They are, but they almost win the hard point as well. And I love this LAG. Of course, Outtro my number one, but I think I'm going to be an LAG fan as my number two this season.
For the rest of the year?
I love the young guns. There's the animosity that they felt towards LA Thieves when they won was just exceptional. Like, so much shit talking, and you love to see that kind of energy this early in a season. Like, let's go. That's what we want.
Yeah, you need it. I can't wait to see it on stage.
Oh, can't wait to see it on stage. Love that there's like a LA rivalry within it. And you won't let me talk about Thieves yet, but let me just say, the Thieves team is getting first bloods and still losing, so they have a lot to figure out.
Yeah, they do. I mean, if you're up a man, it's kind of difficult. No, I think you said something profound before the episode when we were kind of talking about like where we're going, what we're going to talk about this week. But I mentioned the Florida loss. They kind of threw it. You agreed.
Yep.
It's going to happen. Like, you bring in young players, that's going to happen. You're going to lose a series like that. I think the man for the job, though, to clean that up is Arcities, and it reflects on the fact that they come back and they get the win against LA Thieves. And it looked like a lot cleaner, in my opinion.
And you saw it like on his camera when they lost to Florida, like utter disdain because he knew that they should not have lost that game. Yeah, and I think
for sure.
But it's the kind of disdain and like frustration that you have when you're optimistic and hopeful for the team, as opposed to like when you're just like not even interested on being there and not even interested in being a part of it. And so to me, I think he's fucking excited as shit. You saw him just absolutely smoke the LA Thieves, Arcities. And I think he loves kind of being the elder statesman on this team, being the leader, getting this young group of kids to come together. I mean, like you said, you know, they threw the game against Florida, and this is another team that like, and we'll probably talk about Legion in a minute as well. But like, I love this kind of like upside down nature of the league right now. I think you're going to get some really ripe opportunities in the betting markets while people are still kind of like grappling with what's going on.
I think you got a good opportunity this week. No, he had a 1.21 against LA Thieves. He absolutely put on the show.
Absolutely slayed. Yeah.
He did. He had a great week.
They have an unusual chemistry, I think, because of how much they've played together. Now, look, people will get film on them. You'll start to kind of get to play with them more, and you'll kind of start to learn. This is definitely a honeymoon phase for those guys, so losing to Florida is a bit unfortunate, but this is a team that I definitely think is a playoff bound, right? Like, now I know that
I like it.
I know it's top 8, but like this is definitely a top 8 team.
I like the prediction. That's bold. I think coming out of Challengers players, people will just say honeymoon phase and move on, but that's a bold prediction we can get on board with. I don't mind it. That would be very good for the league, in my opinion. I think Legion being there as well would be awesome.
Yep.
So I agree with you on that end. The final team that made a roster change this week, I want to go through this one quickly. I don't really want to touch on it much, but London, Pollux for scraps. They start off 0-2. They got slammed by Ultra to start the weekend. You know, unfortunate that they held their own as much as they could. The problem I have with them is the reverse sweep to Minnesota. They really choked that fourth round of control, and then they let them back in the series, and then like Afro just bodied his former teammates. That was essentially what it was. Like, he just went off. It was unbelievable individually, but I mean, this is a huge concern for London. Not much changed. I think some of the pacing's a little better, but I'm still worried completely about this team, especially after the results of the major.
Yeah, this is a team that is going the opposite direction of last year, and I hope that they can turn it around. But right now, not what you're hoping for.
Well, then we can turn the tables a little bit to a team that started off super well. Your very own, your favorite, and the team that London played first. Toronto Ultra, 6-1 map count this weekend, 2-0 start to the stage. I think my takeaway from this personally is that their record should be 2-0, considering the teams that they played.
Agreed.
You said it yourself. The Florida series got a little tight at points.
It got very tight.
You got to have resilience, especially in this game where it's more about being in the right place at the right time than it is about being a great shooter.
Spawns and speed of kills. It's just so fast.
So sometimes things are out of your control, and that can happen, especially in Modern Warfare 2. But they're where they should be. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'll say. Like they should be 2-0.
Could not say it better. Like I'm not going to read too much into this weekend. They should be 2-0. Great. FaZe beating Seattle 3-0 is also probably more impressive than what Ultra did.
Beating Seattle 3-0 is more impressive than Ultra's. You think?
Yeah, I think Seattle's like a way better.
Surge lost to Legion.
Well, are you ready to talk about the Legion?
Hold on, no.
Okay,
not yet. I mean, I don't know. Legion for me is a team that just needs to take one respawn and they'll beat you. So FaZe beating them 3-0 is like, I feel like it's FaZe just doing FaZe things. It also, this is the other thing I want to talk about. We have two teams that start off 0-2 for the qualifier. Two major teams that like people really want to get behind. LA Thieves and Seattle Surge. Now, listen, who has it worse is my question for you. Because I have my own input here, but I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I mean, unquestionably LA Thieves. This is like I've never been happier watching a team absolutely self-combust. I mean, these guys need to do some trades. Like, look, I think Dashy is going to go to one of these two teams. Unquestionably, these are two teams that are in free fall because of all of the roster shit that's going on. I mean, I guess not Thieves, but Seattle for sure. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they have talented players who just aren't gelling at the moment because they're trying to go land at bigger squads, right? They're real, understandably so. To your point last week, it's like, yeah, well, of course, if you can go to OpTic, everyone understands. But it's like, yeah, not everyone understands. Some people are like, hey, let's build something here. You're going to get chemistry issues. I mean, getting fucking 3-0'd fair, losing to Legion, like, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, you should be able to dominate Legion and respawns, especially the way it looks right now. But
LA Thieves is by far more fun for me to kind of talk about because, I mean, this is just a team that I have a weird amount of animosity towards, and so seeing them underperform is just so great.
I think they overlooked LAG. That's my takeaway from that game. I think the Subliners one is, I expected them to have a little bit more of a honeymoon phase or like a, hangover from the championship. Didn't happen. LA Thieves, I think, win map 1 and then get slapped around right after. For me personally, LA Thieves last year proved that they're willing to stick together with the roster and really figure things out over the course of a season. So I don't expect any changes to come in immediately. It's not the Cold War season where they made 8 changes to start off the year or whatever. Yep. The Seattle Surge one is concerning because, Pred did look to go to OpTic. Pred was optimistic about it. Hex was pretty outspoken about the fact that Pred wanted to join their team and he was ready to move as well. I think there's some damaged chemistry there, and it's going to be really interesting to see them square up with OpTic this week as well, and kind of the result there. So I'm a little bit more concerned about Seattle and what this does to their potential over the course of the season, but I don't know, if you're Seattle, at a certain point your earnings are capped and you have to look to sell Pred to another team based on what you can actually bring home that season. Yeah. So maybe it is Thieves. I don't know, but we're just doing rumors now.
Tell me this, and this is where I apologize to our listeners if I fuck this up, but like, would Pred trade for Octane, like Octane back to Seattle, Pred then like kind of the new Octane coming to Thieves, not just be like the best thing ever?
I just don't think LA would do that.
No, but like, there's no way. Should.
It makes no sense.
I guess it does.
No, they don't have an AR.
Well,
they literally don't have a main AR if they do that.
I mean, I'm just telling you.
I mean, you could throw Kenny in that role, but I don't know how well that works out. I think you're damaging more than you know at that point. This team won together last year. Like, can't discredit that.
But wouldn't it just be funny as shit if Octane ended up back on Seattle? Like, that would be fucking funny as shit.
You would find it really funny. I mean,
I'd find it really funny.
The guy won champs last year, so can't doubt him at this point. Feels pretty difficult. Like, he's obviously He's doing his job. I don't know where they're falling short.
Yeah.
Exactly. Gonna have to take a little bit of a closer look this week.
I know Kenny won last year, like MVP, right? I don't trust Kenny. I really think he's a liability.
I think he's hit or miss, like a little bit, and I think that's always been the commentary on him, is that when he pops off, he really pops off. He's hard to kill.
Yeah.
Almost impossible, some would say.
Somewhat.
But on the contrary to that, there are points where he's a liability. So, I don't know. I think that's just kind of the main takeaway surrounding Kenny. Now, Minnesota is a team I wanted to talk about this week.
Okay.
I think we can keep it brief here, but I want to ask you if you're concerned, because they could have started off 0-2 with an 0-6 map count, but they managed to tie the ticks essentially and be up on kills against London, and then they turned that into a reverse sweep starting round 5 of Control. They win that, hardpoint search next,
Yep.
series over.
Yep.
They kind of escaped this week, but are you concerned, or are we concerned? I guess personally, for me, a little bit. They got the result they needed against London, but like the breach loss 3-0, that's really bad, and then to be down 2-0 to London is also terrible as well. Like, you got to figure some stuff out. They relied on Afro way too much to win that series.
I am beyond concerned about Minnesota, and you will see it coming up in my picks. But look, I think sometimes going down 2-0 and then reverse sweep is kind of what you need to right the ship. Like, a nice reverse sweep cures a lot of, like, fills a lot of cracks, you know, and it kind of brings back the chemistry to a degree. I think Breach are a top 4 team, especially online. But I do, you know, when we're talking
Top 4?
yeah, top 4, I think so. Maybe top 5.
No.
Yeah, Subliners are pretty good right now. We haven't even talked about them. But Minnesota, you know, we're talking about teams that are going to make the top 8 and make playoffs. Like, Minnesota's on the edge of falling out and becoming one of the teams that gets replaced.
Yeah, but the season just started, didn't it?
I know it did, but
Yeah,
like, we have to
go.
make predictions.
There you go. You just said this is where the season starts.
It is where the season starts, and unfortunately, these matches start.
The note I had for FaZe's 1-0, just to move
Yeah.
topics slightly, and this is, I know you talked about it, you touched on it already, they're 3-0 to Surge. I just said FaZe doing FaZe things. It feels like they're always going to be a good qualifier team. They just kind of slap Surge around.
Yeah.
And to pick on a team that probably was limited in practice and obviously has some restrictions to their chemistry right now, considering recent changes, it's just FaZe doing FaZe things. Now, the other team that's 1-0, they also beat Surge, Legion, and you want to talk about them a lot. The way I view this, if you drop a respawn to Legion,
Game over.
you're probably screwed. I mean, they're going to win their search and destroys. This team is final at S&D.
Yeah. No.
And they're winning map 5. The only team I think competing with them in search and destroy win rate right now is Florida.
Yeah. I mean, look, this Legion team is such a breath of fresh air, right? Like, this is a team that's been in dead last place the past 2 seasons. To see them coming in, winning maps, winning matches, so exciting and exceptional to see. You know, they have some big matches coming up. Like, I don't expect this team to be, like, I still don't think they're a playoff team, but the fact that they're not just getting absolutely rocked is great, and this is a team that I will be rooting for all season.
I don't know if I'm willing to say that, because if their LAN performances continue to be pretty good, then they're going to make playoffs because it outweighs the qualifiers by a decent amount.
That's a good point. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's pretty much in terms of a recap of Major 2 Week 1 qualifiers, the Boston Major. If you leave a comment, if you'll be there, I'm sure BMB will read them and respond to them.
Every single one.
And then, I mean,
even the plants. Like, please, if there's anything else in my background you'd like to talk about, bring it up. I'm happy to go in.
No, that about wraps it up for the recap. I think we can now move into, like Love Lock, throwing around some betting picks for this week.
Yep.
Talk about what has good value on the matches and take it really wherever you want to. I'm going to start it off with a lock this week on Friday, January 20th.
You're just starting straight off with a 5-unit lock.
Yeah, I mean, OpTic Texas money line over Seattle Surge at 2.0 odds. You can deal me in for that. I'm taking it all day. And I'm taking it straight to the bank. This is a free win for OpTic.
Wow. I mean, if you can get 2.0, I agree. I actually have OpTic as well versus Seattle as a love. I'm only seeing 1.82. So they're actually favorites on the book that I'm on. So definitely shop around if you can. Let me just say, I actually love the -1.5 as well. -1.5 at 2.98.
It's pretty solid value.
That's
If you really believe in them that much. But, I mean, Seattle's going to be better practice this week, so it's slightly concerning.
but this is the match.
OpTic is too.
No. But okay, so yes, but this is like the drama match, right? This is Pred being like, "Oh, you should have taken me." This is Huke being like, "Fuck you, Pred. They should have always had me." I'm the right fucking pick. Like, this is Chef Kiss match of the week. Like, the only thing that could have been better is if it was the first week coming out of all the drama. But look, I love this. I think you're going to see a resounding OpTic Texas victory on this one. So I love it at at 2.98. Absolutely love it.
You know what else I love? OpTic to also beat Toronto Ultra at 2.5 odds. I think that's incredible value, and I actually think they will pull this off. I think there are gaps in Toronto.
So I knew the snake that you are was gonna bring this up. And are you ready for this, Mr. Scooter?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm not actually ready, but we'll see.
For one of my likes, I also have OpTic at 2.51.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, because I mean, listen.
I think
there's one thing I know about you, and it's that you're willing to sell your team for the money. And
I think
you
this
will.
is
that's fair.
That's a mischaracterization of what I do, which is I look for value and I like to win money. When I see a 2.5 look, and I love this Ultra team, but when I see an OpTic team that's going to have another week of practice and I think going to be getting better, and this is an Ultra team that hasn't really been tested yet, 2.51 is just too much value there. I absolutely love it. And this way, it's also an emotional hedge for me. If I win the money, fantastic. And if Ultra win, I get to come on here and tell you how much better Ultra is. So it's a win-win for me.
Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know. I'd love to hear your other picks out there. I mean,
my other like is day one. I really like New York Subliners at a 2.0 versus FaZe. Actually, sorry, that isn't day one. It's on Sunday. But I like the New York Subliners at 2.0 against FaZe. I just think that this Subliners team is really playing well. And again, like, sorry, I'm not going to... I mean, I know we were talking earlier, kind of similar to what we were saying about Ultra, but I just think this FaZe team hasn't truly been tested yet, and I think that it was an easy week to get Seattle.
That's fair.
It's just a like. It's a one-unit like. Yeah. I'm looking for value.
I hear you. Listen, I'll throw one out there. London Royal Ravens to beat Paris Legion at 2.62. I'm going to take that all day. Take that all day. Now, I think Legion should win this? Yeah, I do.
Yes, you do.
But this is one of those matches where it feels like it's going to get scrappy enough to where, and that's not a pun on Scraps' name, first of all, but it feels like it's going to get scrappy enough and ugly enough to where, like, London could get their respawns down. And they could also pull off an S&D. There's enough film out there to beat Paris, or Las Vegas, I guess, at a certain point. So maybe the counter strats are in, but I don't know. London's got a lot of soul searching to do this week. That's why I'm not big on it. I'm not sure I really have that much else this week in terms of things that I'm like hyper bullish on.
You haven't even talked about my two locks yet.
No, I know. I'm going to let you get to it. I don't hate Minnesota at 3.5 over FaZe as well.
Yes, you do.
Now, I'll tell you what. Them playing LAG later in the weekend, like the new LAG, is very interesting.
You can't say this for people. Like, you're now just this is just funny. You don't even mean these things.
Listen, man, Minnesota's a scrappy team, and they always have been. Scrappy orc. All right, let's get into it. Your locks. I want to hear both.
Lock number one, Boston Breach at 1.82 versus the Legion. Absolute fucking lock. And I really love the -1.5 at 2.50. Again, I'm just not going to trust an online Legion team right now. And this Boston team is pretty good.
I'll trust them to win Surge.
And then number two, you know what it is. And that is a Toronto Ultra beatdown of the LA Thieves. And I got -1.5 at 2.49.
Yeah, it's pretty unsurprising. I mean, I got a 2.75 for -1.5.
But I like that even better.
I think that's fair. I also don't know why these odds are so close together currently. It feels like even if the talent is on the same level, the communication and the playstyle right now, just the game suits Ultra at the moment.
Totally.
So definitely a concerning position for LA Thieves to be in. But I'll disagree more with the Boston Breach one just because I think Legion is just good at pulling off a series. and they know what they need to win. They know their condition. Like, they just need to win or respawn. And Boston is very capable of dropping one of those.
I'm telling you, man.
But Boston will lose their S&Ds to them. Like, I don't think this is a 3-0 by any means.
I agree with you there, but you're getting fucking Boston at a 1.82 money line.
Boston choked last stage at the end, too. You're forgetting that. 3-2 loss to LAG to really bomb their seeding out was like pretty insane if you consider it. That's all you got this week, I'm guessing, though. Those are the last two.
I think we talked about half the matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got through most of them, and if you want to continue the conversation, you can join our Discord, which will be down in the description below as well.
Absolutely.
Along with our Twitter, at Best3 Network on Twitter. Discord should also be in the pinned tweet there. And if you liked what you heard, or if you're listening to us again after another week, we showed up in your algorithm. Sorry about that. Happens. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Leave a comment down below if you think your algorithm's broken and you hate us, or you love us. Positive comments also help the mental health around here. I think that about does it, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we'll see you next week, or we'll see you in Discord if you feel the need to join. Peace out.
Toodaloo.